What up? Can you guys see me? How's it going? Hey yo, how's it going, guys? I don't know what I did to make myself. I was dorking around with this thing. We're just figuring it out here still. Learning how to. Oh, here's maybe a little bit easier of a thing. Cancel whatever. Do, 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 do. Hi, friends. How's it going? Hi. So, I have some fun things for today. And of course, I'm still dorking around with my layouts because I don't know how to just even be a normal, I don't, learning how to do this influencer thing. La 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 la, but it's just me. I don't like that I'm around. I just want to be just me. Why am I around? We're going to hold up. I'm here. This is recording. Of course it is, because I'm just so, guys, up until this very second, I have literally been editing the audio because I wanted to go through every word and everything he said to make sure that I protect both Justin and myself. This is spicy. We have some spice and everything nice because what I have for you guys is literally a tell-all. Justin Lee Fisher, so this is the situation. If you guys, I was on Sarah Yarn and Law, like Yarn and Order, whatever she's going by today. I was on her live last night and I kind of let you guys know in a very odd turn of events yesterday. I got a text message from Justin Lee Fisher. Oh my gosh. And let me tell you, I got a text from him last week, but I didn't see it. Does that make me I'm just so, guys, I run my own business. There's so many people that contact me all the time. I didn't see it. I didn't see his text. And so he texted me last week on December 3rd and I did not see it. And let me kind of show you guys what's been going on here. So that you can also be a part of. So he went, oh, you don't, I need to make that bigger. He went and texted me. I wanted to show you guys just for like transparency, like what ended up happening and how I got in contact. Can you guys hear me now? I saw Mel Snare said she can't hear. Can you guys, hi, how's it going? I have tea. So what's happening is, I went ahead and got contacted by Justin Lee Fisher. If you didn't know, he's the person, the process server that was trying to jump over Travis Kelce's fence. But as we will see here, he did not jump over the fence. He did not. And he even said to me, I'm an ex-army vet. Like, I've got a bad back and bad knees. He's like, I don't remember the last time I've jumped. Like, I'm not jumping over anything. And that's one of the things he wanted to clear up today. And so I'm hoping that what this video will kind of do is basically give a little bit more transparency and give a little bit more of a platform for Justin and his family, because I do think that they're kind of getting the short end of the stick here. And I think that there's a lot of stuff that he doesn't even know about. I think we know way more about what's going on this situation than even him and his family know. So what had originally happened is I had some friends that I know from the town that he lives in. If you didn't know, my husband actually used to be down there. I'm well integrated in the community that he lives in. I didn't realize he was from that area. And then I found out later on. So, friend through a friend, I ended up cold calling him, but understandably, he couldn't talk about the case back in October. So, if you see, the first message I sent him was actually a follow up to our phone call. And I was just like, hey, thank you so much for taking my call. I just wanted to let you know whenever you want to talk, I'm here if you decide you ever do want to talk about it. And so my last reporting on this was from after his hearing and then after we were seeing the headlines from his hearing. And on the 3rd, he actually came and texted me and said, I'll grant an interview now. Like, excuse me, you'll grant, oh my gosh, that's so exciting. But I didn't see that text. I'm a big doofus. So a week later, yesterday, I got another text that said, or not, LOL. Or not. Oh my gosh, let's talk. Let's chat. So I'm like, want to call now? My bad. Drop the baton on that one. Let's talk. And so I just kind of gave him we set up a time. I just kind of gave him the outline like, hey, you tell me what you want to talk about, but I want you to be completely comfortable and make sure that you're telling me things that, you can tell me, and like I don't want to put you in a weird spot, right? So if you didn't know, he did have a hearing. He was put on diversion because he didn't want to charge or to lose his license. I know. Alex, these side quests are so fucking crazy. I was getting texts from a professional colleague this morning, another dietitian in the area. She was like, "Hey, can you help me with this like whatever thing? And what are you doing today?" And I'm like, "LOL, just interviewing the guy that was allegedly jumping over Travis Kelce's fence. No big deal. Like, what an insane side quest. I don't even know what life is right now." And I should say as well, you guys, that I am not a professional interviewer. I am not a I counsel people for a living, so a lot of times I contribute, but because I'm the professional, sometimes you have to it's a push and pull thing, which I'm realizing as an interviewing skill is maybe not like I do motivational interviewing. I don't do I want you to spill tea with me interviewing because I always have the people that I talk to's interest at heart, if that makes sense, because they're there to seek advice. So I feel like I didn't know how to step into an interviewer's shoes because I feel like sometimes people are there and you're supposed to just ask a question and be quiet and let them just tell everything, right? But I didn't want to do that for him. Like I wanted to make sure that he was feeling good. Does that make sense? So, what we're going to do today is I'm going to walk you through I will say I can't just play the entire recorded clip outright because there were some times that I noticed and I listened to this like 5 times over, you guys. There were some times where there were pronouns that were slipped in or there were things that were slipped in that I don't think maybe should have been slipped in, and so I went ahead and clipped it so that we don't I don't put him in a bad spot and I'm not in a bad spot. So, I just wanna make sure that the truth is out there from his perspective because up until this point, we last speculated basically what was on his diversion record, and there's so much more to it. So, share this live, share what's here. It'll be recorded in my YouTube after this for us to kind of go through. But let's kick her off. So I did get permission, by the way, from Justin, and I've still been texting with him because there's some other things that have kind of come up since we talked that he was like, I was like, hey, I forgot to ask you about the Laura Baker situation, the neighbor. And because we just got to talking and I just completely forgot to ask about it. He goes, I have no idea who that is. He had never seen the information that was given to the public. So I sent him all the screenshots. I was like, babe, here's your docket. Have you seen it? He hadn't seen it. He has no idea. You guys, we have to support this man, okay? So, here we are. Um let's go through. Let me go through. I can't pull up my oh my gosh, I'm gonna get distracted if I look at my texts. Do we have any questions outright to start off here before I start just getting into it? If anybody's got questions, otherwise just start popping them through. And if I see things that come up as we're playing video clips, um, mind you, I'm literally recording myself and I forgot that I was doing that like halfway through. So if you see me pick my nose or whatever, we're gonna ignore that part too. So I kind of went over. Let's go over the first clip here, and I'm just gonna go ahead and make myself into the tiniest little bean on the screen that I possibly can so that you guys can see the video. Um, and of course, again, I'm just yeah, these side quests are crazy. How do I take yeah, let's hide that current comment. Yeah, the side quests are wild, you guys. Um, Asked, what prompted you to reach out? Why did you want to talk to the clip starts immediately. Let me rewind it here. And so this is the first time I'm playing video on top of me. Ooh, and I don't want to be that big. How do I make myself smaller? Smaller, shut collar, but tiny girl, like make me into like the little bean in the corner. How do I do that? That's better. Ugh. Okay. Actually, I'll do you want to ask what prompted you to reach out? Why did you want to talk today?
Just kind of clear up some things that happened. I mean, you read the articles that initially came out. There's
Can you guys not hear me? I've messed her all up. Oh no. This is my very first time playing video over me. Can you hear me? You guys, what's happening? Something's glitching. I'm frozen. Did you guys hear the video clip or do I need to replay it? We probably need to replay it. It's not a long one. Oh my goodness, what did I do to myself? Okay. Is it not going to play video clip over me? Guys, I should have looked at this a little bit better. Uh-oh, maybe I'm just messing this whole thing up. We could see your little face and not the big clip. Huh. Can you see me like this, me like this? We are able to hear a little bit of it. Why is my clip glitched? That's annoying. Well, you know what we're going to do? Technical difficulties. Excuse me for 1 second. I'm going to, is there a way to pause? I'm going to do this a whole different way. I previously uploaded the clips, but what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to upload them one at a time and then I'll show them to you one at a time, but I got to pull them from my desktop over, if that makes sense. We're going to go. Ask what prompted you to reach out? I'm back. I'm ready for action. So sorry, I'm doing this live. La la la. Okay. You want to ask what prompted you to reach out? Why did you want to talk today?
Just kind of clear up some things that happened. I mean, you read the articles that initially came out. There's a lot of misstatements of what happened and why I was there and why I was there at such a crazy hour.
And so, yes, I made it with the cap cut. LOL. So I went through and I clipped. Yes. So the other piece that I thought was very interesting, you guys, is that so he said everything is being misreported. And I want to tell you that as a part of our conversation, if you remember, the very first outlet to report that Justin Lee Fisher was delivering deposition papers for the Justin Baldoni lawsuit, and specifically, I don't have a screenshot, but in this article, it says that Justin Lee Fisher was serving deposition papers on behalf of Justin Baldoni. Well, in this interview, he's not able to actually tell me on behalf of who. So, but what I will say is that this article, the person that wrote this article reached out and Justin confirmed to me that he didn't call him until the 17th. So it was like a day or two after he was actually arrested. So the person that wrote this article and knew this information and was the first person, first media outlet to reach out to Justin, called him 2 days, September 17th, after he was arrested and knew this information. But how did they know that when his name was not on the arrest record, right? How did they know that when there's no victim listed? Who gave him all that information? But he did say that they sent him a screenshot of the article and said to approve or read through it, and he said it was fine. on the 22nd. So why did Star Magazine go ahead and sit on that information for almost a week? And that's where us as the internet suspiciously comes in and we go, hey, here's where it's at. This is the situation. We think that this was timed to align to negatively smear or to give bad press to one side of a certain civil litigation lawsuit. So, as we go through, you guys, there's hopefully you guys can hear a little bit more. That his voice is a little bit low in my recording, so just do your best. You can always come back and rewatch a little bit more too, but let's go ahead and walk through the situation in Justin's words, okay?
The subpoena was attempted to be served several times that day.
Really?
Once in the morning at the residence by a different agent.
Why are these glitching? These are going to glitch. This is so annoying. Okay, yeah, I'm going to have to delete them all. Okay, I'm going to remove them. Damn, y'all. Okay, my whole plan is really out the door. They're going to glitch unless I do them one at a time this whole time. That's so silly. I literally have them all clipped out. There's probably like 12 clips, and it's not going to let me do it like that. That's wild. So that's okay. We're going to pull it all up here. We're going to do it like this. There's the first attempt. There's the second attempt. The assignment arriving. There's the restaurant attempt. Katie's so annoyed by this whole situation. Holy shit. Technology is currently failing me and it's pissing me off. So let's go ahead and put this up here while I get the rest of the clips figured out so you guys can go ahead and have the first attempt. Go ahead and listen in.
The subpoena was attempted to be served several times that day.
Really?
Once in the morning at the residence by a different agent. But the gate was actually locked open, so he just drove down there and was actually spoken to by the security guards and was told to leave. It's a gated community, so there's the initial gate, and then his residence also has a gate.
Yeah.
And so the first gate was open, he drove down to it and was met by the security guards, told to leave, so he left.
So he went ahead and left after the first. So there was a first attempt that actually went through. Can you believe that? There was more than one attempt. And I'll tell you, spoiler alert, there was actually 4 attempts to serve Taylor Swift prior to Fisher. Somebody suggested that I call him Fisher going forward. We're going to call him Fisher. I agree with that. I'm going to do my best. So, yes, that was the very first attempt that went through. Okay. So then, of course, after that first attempt, there was a second attempt.
That agent and another agent attempted to serve the subpoena at the football game.
Okay.
Tried several times. They were there outside the suite for pretty much the whole game, and probably a couple hours afterwards, attempting to serve it, and were denied every time. So they were unsuccessful.
Unsuccessful. That's the second attempt. Can you believe that? So, but in the meantime, there was those first 2 attempts that happened, and he knew that there was other situations that were going on. So, they tried to serve and we know at this time, Justin never confirmed and never said in any of our statements who he was trying to serve or who on behalf. But what I will say is that he was very careful with his words, and he said he was outside the suite at the game, and the 2 agents, so the first agent and a second agent, actually were at the football game that was happening that day for hours and went to try and go to serve him. But in the meantime, his boss was in communication with him and trying to tell him, like, hey, we're having some issues here. There's a couple of barriers. We may need you tonight. But he explained that he was doing another like job. So he knew that there was like issues that were going on, right? Um, Hi, if you guys are just now joining us, you probably haven't missed too much. Basically, Justin Lee Fisher, up until this point, has explained that there were multiple attempts. He reached out to me, but we were having some technical difficulties with playing the videos. I did have to clip some things out so that there's some information that was going on. But next, let's kind of talk a little bit about the assignment that he was given from his supervisor. So I stepped in and I said, what actually happened? What's going on here? Like, what did your supervisor tell you to do? So when did you get the assignment? What information were you given about the service attempt?
I was contacted by my boss who sends me my cases the night before.
This stupid platform. I hate it so much. What is happening? It's going to drive me absolutely nuts. I keep doing it as best as I can, but it's like glitching the clips. Why is it doing that? I may have to just record a separate video and then, rather than doing this live like this, but I'm trying to give you guys the deets because you're here. You're here live. So I want to give you the actual deets. So when did you get the assignment? What information were you given about the service attempt?
I was contacted by my boss who sends me my cases the night before asking, because I was on a different case from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. He contacted me asking if I would be able to if I could do a few hours after that, probably 3-4 hours of work to serve the paperwork if needed, in case the other agents weren't able to, if they weren't successful. So yeah.
So they weren't successful, and so that's when he ended up receiving his assignment, and he went through and he had to come up with a strategy. He was like, okay, I got to do this, right? I need to figure out what's going on. And for those of you asking why I clip things out, there were times where he used pronouns where I didn't think that I just want to protect him and I want to protect myself, where he maybe said he or she in the wrong places, where I don't think it was intentional, but I do want to protect him a little bit more. And I do think that it's meaningful, especially to me when I learn about things. I want to hear it from his voice. I don't want to hear it from me saying it for him, if that makes sense. I could paraphrase all day, baby. But I think it's more meaningful when you hear it from Justin. So what's coming up next is he did come up with a strategy. So he's like, okay, they shut him down at the football game. He said that those two agents sat outside of the suite for like the entire time. So he struggled and he was like, okay, I need to figure out what am I doing? Like how am I going to end up doing this? And how am I going to try and serve this legal paperwork?
At probably about 8:45. I initially went to the residence to see if they were there. The game would have been over, but it was the gate was locked and there didn't appear to be anybody at home. From what I can tell, you can't really see the residence.
So he went to the residence first, and this was after the game. So he was like, it's all locked up. So it was said that multiple times that the first gate was not the issue. There was a person there. It's a residential community that's gated. He went ahead and would sit at that residential gate. He would go past the gate. That's not a problem to get through. Apparently they have to let you through. So he would get through, and then it's that first gate that they would sit at. And he's like, it didn't look like there was anybody home. It didn't look like there was anybody there. And he didn't know that, so I do want to clarify that my previous theory, it was incorrect. Like he didn't wait for anybody to type in a code or anything like that. And honestly, after texting him, he didn't know that Laura Baker was even on any of the reports. He's like, I don't know who that is or why she would be involved. Maybe later on he was yelling and he's like, maybe she heard me and maybe that's what was going on. And unfortunately, Monica, I 100% think that's what happened. 100%. I think he was taken advantage of. And so Through all of this, so he went ahead and he ended up getting to the house after the game, checked the residence around 8:45 p.m. The game was at 1:30, so it's a reasonable thing to think like, oh, maybe they'll be home by like 9 p.m. So everybody that's kind of ragging on the guy like, oh, 2 p.m. or 2 a.m. is weird. It is weird. That's a weird time for somebody to be arriving at their house, but we didn't know what was going on after the game, right? So let me tell you what he did next. He went through and let me take this comment down so it's not up there the whole time. Next, he went through and he decided to use in his own words what he said as educate. I used my educational skills and I sleuthed a little bit.
I just did an educational guess of where I thought they would be, and so I went to the new fancy restaurant that has started within the last month or so.
Yeah, I know which one that is. Yeah.
I was talking with some people that were waiting around that verified this person was inside the restaurant. So I attempted to serve the subpoena at the door. One of the doormen said, wait here, went inside, came outside with, I'm guessing the head of the restaurant security or something.
So, did you hear that? So, he went to the restaurant, the new fancy restaurant, and he didn't name the restaurant. He didn't say who owns the restaurant, but I can tell you exactly what that fancy restaurant is. But Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce opened their own brand new restaurant that is super exclusive and hard to get reservations in Kansas City, and it's called 1537. So, they were doing a soft opening apparently, and so he would go up to the door and he said that he tried at the restaurant. This is attempt number 3 to try and serve papers. He said there were multiple people that had identified that Taylor Swift was in the restaurant and he didn't name Taylor Swift. And I just want to protect him there. I am saying that I am making the inference and knowing, okay, he's trying to serve Taylor Swift. So he was at the restaurant. He confirmed by multiple people that she was inside. So when he went up to the doorman, he explained, hey, I'm a process server. I have papers for her. I'm trying to serve her. And the doorman said 1 second and made him wait outside and went and got the restaurant manager. The manager came out and said, she's not here. There's nobody here by that name. She's not here at all. So they were trying to protect her from going in, but that's the situation there. So that is the third attempt in one day. So yes, he said it was maybe 8:45 when he was at the house. So maybe it's closer to like 9, 10 o'clock at this point. Okay. So that's when he was going in there. Does anybody have questions up until this point of like what we've kind of talked about so far? But he went to the restaurant and he did his best there to try and serve her again in a public area at a reasonable time, right? Does this change anybody's mind or how you guys feel a little bit differently about like what's kind of going on? What do you think? So I think that the reporting maybe isn't up until this point where I'm sure he's like frustrated that everybody's talking about him like he's a creepy guy that just decided to go and jump over the fence at 2 a.m. and like go to this guy's house and bug Taylor and bug Travis. When in reality, multiple people, multiple days, all throughout the week, all throughout the day, this is the third attempt that they tried to serve him. And if you heard earlier and you were a part of this earlier, you heard that the very first attempt, the process server that also worked for the same company that Justin Lee Fisher worked for, he was assigned this case initially. 2 other process servers had already attempted it during the day. Justin Lee Fisher ends up being the third process server of the day to try and go serve this paperwork, right? Isn't that wild? So it's just the way that things have gotten construed, it's so differently. It just sucks that that's the way that he got painted and how everything has kind of like turned up until this point, right? So up until that point, let me see, where am I at with my notes? Yeah, the soft opening for the restaurant, all of the things like, so there's just a lot of stuff that was kind of like, you're like, okay, well, what actually happened here? What else is going on? So next we're going to go over, next Justin said that after he tried, he kind of got shut down by the manager at the 1537 Prime restaurant. He didn't say that. I need to clarify. I am assuming that that he meant that restaurant. Um, he said that he hung outside and he was there until about 1:45 in the morning because he was looking around and waiting because he knew the person he was trying to serve papers to was inside of that restaurant. It had been confirmed by multiple people. And that's when something else happened.
It was shut down there, so I just hung outside the restaurant until it was probably about 1:45. Saw the white SUV move from one side of the road over to in front of the, it's kind of like a service entrance garage door where they make deliveries. The garage door opened and a high luxury SUV came out along with another SUV, and the convoy took off. So I followed. We followed pretty much the route back coming from the residence. We knew where they were going. So once we got off the highway, came to a stoplight on the exit ramp, and I got ahead of the convoy and beat him to the residence.
Okay. So he went and he got ahead of the convoy. So he sat outside the restaurant until about 1:45 in the morning, and he goes, "You know what? There is I know that she's in there. This is the person that as a part of his job, he needs to go and serve." So he waited outside the restaurant for them to leave. He saw, "Oh, there's a convoy. Oh, something's happening. I think this is going on." So he goes and he waits and he follows to make sure that they're headed back towards the house. And once he said, he's like, "Yeah, I recognize where they're trying to go." He knew that they were headed back to the residence location where he originally checked at like 8:45 p.m. and tried to serve. So he said he's at the stoplight. He went ahead and tried to get ahead of them to head back to the residence to beat them there so that he could just meet them there when they got there. And so this is the part where I did clip parts of these out because it just seemed very personal and I didn't want to get too graphic, but he talks about his experience at the gate and like I kind of made some jokes and stuff with him about like, like how did it go, especially when the reality of being a PI and trying to serve somebody papers. Can you imagine somebody trying to pew pew you like while you're just out there? Like I didn't even think about it, but I was like, "Oh, did you forget your ninja suit at home?" And he goes, "No, I wasn't trying to get, shot." Like and I was like, "Oh, that's duh. Like no duh. Like that makes sense, right? Like you don't want to get hurt." He goes, "Like what's the point of that getting hurt trying to do this job, especially if you're being sneaky and you are like, you know what I'm talking about, like being out there at these gates trying to serve papers." Hi friends, how's it going? Hi Kat. Um Thanks for joining us. If you guys are here, I did go through and I clipped out. If you're just joining in, I did go through and clip out just because there was personal bits or just filler or like other things where I was trying to build rapport with them a little bit as we were talking. So just to kind of get more to the point, I've been playing just the clips of Justin explaining what actually happened. Does anybody have? Yeah. So I just didn't think about the whole fact of the danger of being a PI and the danger of this situation. And how tough that probably was. You know what I mean? Like how difficult that probably was for him. And so, um, at that point, so he had followed the convoy home. He got ahead of them and was trying to head back to the gates of the neighborhood to try and serve these papers. And that is when he goes through and let me upload this clip because the clips are being funny today. Hey. And he says that the security team didn't see him.
Stood down by the little gatehouse and stood in plain view at the gatehouse. I wasn't trying to hide or anything. Then their convoy showed up a few minutes later, and gate opened. They drove right by me, didn't even see me. As soon as the third one
didn't even see him. Uh-oh, it stopped halfway because it hates me. I don't know what's going on, but I think there is something going on. There is this is bullshit. All of this is bullshit. I'm so annoyed. Excuse my language. It's probably going to ding me or something because it hates me. Remove that. We're going to play one more time, guys. We'll start it right where we left off. It's something about this technology. I swear I'm good.
down by the right by me, didn't even see me. As soon as the third one went through, I
You
just
mean
walked on
you left
behind
your
him.
ninja outfit at home, like you weren't had to just covered in blood?
No,
No, I'm just kidding.
no.
Okay,
No,
okay.
I mean, I had a gray shirt and khaki pants on.
You're like I was sticking out like a sore thumb. No.
I stood out in the open at the gatehouse. I mean, they drove probably within 5 feet of me. None of them saw me.
Somebody again said Fisher. I'm going to do my best to try and say Fisher instead of Justin Lee Fisher, but I'll say that I'm not really referencing Justin Baldoni at all in this video. So I did in the beginning, maybe a little bit, but as we play these clips, I'm not referring to Baldoni. So, so he described that they were in the convoy, he was at the gate, and he said that as soon as, because he beat them there, he got out of his car, he parked a little bit down, and he walked up to that main security gate that I've shown in previous videos, where he said that they would type in a code or do whatever to get past that gate, and he says he just walked right in with those vehicles. So not with, and I think in my previous videos, I speculated maybe that's how the neighbor was involved. Maybe they typed in their code and he snuck in. But in the reality is that he waited for the actual cars of Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift to go through that area before he followed them all in. And then he said he didn't just hide. He stayed in the middle of the road. He was very well seen. He kept saying he was concerned about his safety. He didn't want to get, pew-pewed or anything like that. He wanted to maintain his safety. And so he stayed in the middle of the road and he walked about a quarter of a mile down to the residence where there was a second gate and a car parked outside of the second gate. So if you can believe this, there was security within that second gate as well, in that car that's outside of the gate, outside of their home. And he said he was just able to walk right past them. And he goes, he was playing on his phone, no big deal.
And I walked up on that one SUV sitting there in front of their gate. He was too into his phone to notice me, so I just walked right past him.
Walked right past him, no big deal. He was playing on his phone. He was like, yeah, I wasn't concerned. He didn't seem to be worried about it too much. And I know that there was also speculation out that there was stalkers and other things. I don't know why the security is playing on his phone, but he's like, I didn't want to, he goes, I was trying to do my job, serve these papers. I just walked right up. I just walked past him. He was playing on his phone. Let me look over at the comments here. Why is she so scared? I'm not sure who you're referring to. I'm wondering if it's Taylor, but yeah, Fisher was the last and most unlucky to try it. And I'm wondering, Angela, if the team was on alert, like they knew that she was trying to be served that day. And I think somebody brought up the fact that Kirk was earlier that week and Taylor was hiding because of that. But I think it might have been for other reasons. I think she knew she was trying to be served and she was trying to be served legal paperwork. And so she was trying to actively avoid that, which I would too. I mean, this is no shade to Taylor whatsoever. And I feel like I've brought a lot of Swifties out of the woodwork, like thinking that I like Taylor. I'm nothing against Taylor whatsoever. I'm curious as to the reason why I'm so focused on this. And I told Justin this as well. It is so interesting to me how this one situation or multiple situations now have been taken and spun and fed to the public so that they think, oh, when they hear the term Justin Lee Fisher, that's why he reached out to me. Is he's like, when you Google my name, it's wild. Like the things that come up, he's like, none of that happened. I don't know what any of that is. This guy is getting like railroaded in all of this. It sucks. He's like, and I did ask him, I didn't have time to clip the ending of our conversation, but he did say that it's truly has had an effect on his wife and him. He said he's used to going through a lot of stuff like this because of his background in the army, but he said that it's now, so because of that, he's kind of used to tough situations, but it's been more affecting his wife, I think, because of their reputation. They are in a small town, especially when something big like this happens. Like he's like, yeah, it's kind of cool that, you could tell your family members what you were doing, but in the end, it's not like his public image has been kind of harmed from this as well, I think, in my own opinion. So, we talked, so the security, so at this point where he walked past the security guard at Travis Kelce's gate. So he's made it past the first gate. He's made it past the second gate. He just walked on by. The guy was playing on his phone and He continued to describe for his own safety. He was in plain clothes. He was wearing a gray shirt and khaki pants, like light colored clothes. He wasn't hiding. He wasn't in bushes. He wasn't hopping over fences. He was in plain sight, and he made sure to make himself known so that people knew he was there and what he was there for. And so we did that. We did the walk past the security clip. Let's do the next clip. So he identified himself. So his next move was he went through and he walked up to the front door, rung the doorbell, and identified himself as a process server.
I just walked past him. I stayed in the road the whole time. One of the SUVs that was in the convoy was parking, and the agent stepped out, and I yelled at him. I just yelled, "Hey, I'm a legal process server. I'm here to serve so-and-so a subpoena."
Oh, you identified
And
yourself.
Yeah, I had my hands up, had the paperwork in my hand.
Damn, real?
Said,
Oh
"I'm a
my
legal
gosh.
process
Okay.
server." He shined his flashlight on me, didn't say a word to me, and disappeared. Nobody.
He shined a flashlight on you with your hands in the air as you were saying, "I'm a legal process server here to serve papers." And then he walked away.
Yep, didn't say a word and disappeared. And everybody disappeared.
Justin, they disappeared? Everybody like gone, disappeared. He said that they just kind of, and later, like we kind of like talked a little bit, and I was like, maybe it was protocol, maybe that's what they have set up of when there is a trespasser or somebody comes up that it's protocol that they just ghost everybody, or maybe that was strategy and they just wanted the police to take care of it. But Justin then goes on and he describes, you're saying that he confirmed that the Star Magazine's story, aren't you? I am not. I'm not confirming that at all. I don't think that the Star Magazine story is correct. In my own personal opinion. From everything that I know, I don't think that the Star Magazine's take, the first take, is the correct take. That's what I think. That's my own opinion, though. That's my speculation. So he goes up and I'm guessing it was probably Drew or a main security person, shines a flashlight on him. He is literally hands in the air with papers in his hand going, "Hey, I'm a process server. I'm here to serve papers. I need to do it." And they all just disappear. So that's when Justin said that he was like, "Okay, I need to like I need to they know I'm here, right? Like he's already identified himself, he's already made himself known, so he needs to finish his job. He needs to finish what he was there to do." And that's when he goes ahead and he starts making noise. And so later when I did a follow-up text question, I asked him like I did text him and I said, "Hey, what's the situation? I forgot to ask you, how was Laura K. Baker involved? Do you know?" And he said, "No idea. Never heard that name." And I said, "She's a neighbor, but her name is on the front of the police report, your police report from your incident." And he said, "Weird. No idea how she was involved or reported anything. Maybe she heard me yelling for the guards." And so that's what he talks about in this next clip is that after the security guard saw him, he identified himself. They all disappeared. He starts hooting and hollering out in front, whistling and making noise because he's trying to get them to come back out to address him.
Everybody disappeared. I couldn't see a soul. And so I was probably standing out there whistling, trying to make somebody come out and talk to me. Nobody would, so I went over to the keypad by his gate. It has kind of like a little doorbell thing on, so I pushed it. Said again, "I'm a legal process server. I'm here to serve so-and-so the subpoena." Nobody said a word to me. Nobody answered. Nobody said nothing.
Wow.
And then a minute later, I heard sirens. I was like,
You're like, "Damn, that's for me."
Yeah, I heard sirens. I was like, "That's probably for me, but maybe not." But about a minute later, they were pulling up. And you'd think for a trespasser, they'd show up a little more, kind of hot and heavy, but guy just kind of...
Was it just like one guy? Yeah.
What's going on? Initially one, and then I think two others showed up about a minute later, maybe.
Yeah.
He got out and like, hey, what's going on? I'm like, well, I'm standing there with my hands up again, and like, I'm identified myself. I'm legal process server here to serve some paperwork.
So, this is a great comment that you just put through here. So it says Fisher messed up right there. He should have left. Anyone could have figured out that they'd call the police. Right. The police department is not very far from the place where this happened. And I do want to, before I address this comment that's here, somebody said, are you using pronouns? I'm using pronouns because I'm making conclusions. I'm speculating that he was there to serve Taylor Swift. Not once in our conversation did he ever confirm who he was serving, why he was there. He did confirm what types of papers he was trying to serve, and he said it was and I can go back and I have it written. Let me look at it here in just a second. But he did confirm what type of papers, but because he's allowed to, but he did not tell me at any point in time who he was there to serve or on behalf of what party. So Fisher messed up right there. He should have left. Anyone could have figured out that they'd call the police. Yeah. So, but he was there to do a job. And he said that a lot of times what ends up happening is when the police do show up, because the Leawood Police Department is so close, he figured he didn't have a lot of time to walk back, get in his car. Like they were there quick. And so he said that he assumed, and he kind of made the conclusion that he'd just get a warning because that's typically what happens in his job, especially if he's in a place that he's not supposed to be, or if people feel afraid or whatever the situation was, he would get a warning. He didn't realize that he was going to just literally be cuffed and arrested right then and there. He knew that it was a high profile situation that he was in, but in the end, it was, he didn't realize he was going to be arrested. And that was the devastating part to him. He did explain that the police officer, because I was like, did they tell you, what were they arresting you for? Why did they explain why you were being arrested? And he said that he was being arrested for jumping over a fence. And that's what they ended up telling him at the jail when they arrested him, was that he jumped over a fence. And he goes, but I didn't jump over a fence. And that's when he said, the cop explained, oh, that's just what we put on papers when you're in a place where you're not supposed to be. And that's where he said he maybe messed, like, he's like, he wasn't so sure about that, but he was getting out and he was like, good, I need to go home. It was like early morning at this point, right? He was being released. So he said that the police didn't give him a warning because there was a sign posted on the outside of the neighborhood that says no trespassing. So that the police officer said was his warning, that he didn't see the sign. Justin said he didn't see the sign there. So and I'm sure he was in a hurry. Of course, he was trying to beat the convoy, trying to get up there to surf. And everybody has tried to attempt this all day long, right? So he didn't see the sign. So the police said that was his warning. So therefore they arrested him and charged him with criminal trespass. But at this point in time, that's when I was like, okay, well, what's so I was trying to think, okay, what's the situation of what's going on here? Like what I know a question that I keep seeing online and people keep asking is why are people trying to serve Taylor Swift directly? Why are they trying to get to Taylor, especially when she's got stalkers, especially when she's trying to live her life? She has a lawyer that's publicly representing her. Why don't they just give the paperwork to the lawyers? And so I asked him in his professional opinion what the procedure is with that. Let me ask too, maybe a little bit more about the procedure from, because you've done this for a while. So I know that there's a lot of people that are confused about how process serving works when somebody has legal representation. Yeah. So can you talk me through like the procedure you follow? Like, is it normal to serve the individual directly, or do you typically serve their attorney?
Normally, you have to serve them directly. They kind of vary state to state. The process is, you supposed to hand it to them, or if they refuse it, just drop it at their feet, and you've been served.
So he said it himself. That's, it's based on state by state. And so I did ask him, I'm trying to go through here. There's a couple of things. He does actually say, and there's just like, that's the process serving, like what he explains why this was going on, what currently happens, and in his own words, why he thinks somebody might not be served or why they need to be served directly. So from that, I can kind of go, okay, so even though Taylor Swift is a billionaire, whatever, and we know she has representation, she still needs to be served like everybody else. And that's kind of what I took from that. What do you guys think? Is there something different that you guys think? Let me see. So I'm confused. The process servers are third party hired. Yeah, he's a third party. And he was, if you guys are just now joining, he was literally the third person, the third agent, and it was the fourth attempt that he had made to try and serve them that day. So 2 a.m. is not a crazy thing. But we're getting close to an hour here. Let me share this last little clip I have. And I did ask him, I said, Justin, if there is one thing that you want the public to know that hasn't been reported on, please tell me what do you want the people to know? Why are you reaching out to me? What's going on here? Right. Tell me what you haven't seen out there and what you want corrected on the record. Well, let me ask you one last question. One last question here. If there was just one thing that you would want the public to know or to understand that, isn't in the news coverage now, what would it be?
I would say, yeah, I was there for a legal purpose. I didn't jump any fences. And I was there at a crazy hour of 2 o'clock because that's when they got home. And that it was attempted, the process was attempted to be served several times that day.
Okay. I listened back to it because it was at a hairy time. And there was a question that was asked because there was a lot of like little things that were in there, some nuances. And it says in here, somebody asked, and I don't see the thing. It was a red. Regardless, what type of document he was serving, he is allowed to tell me what type of document he was serving. And he said specifically that it was a subpoena to appear for testimony in for a deposition. And so it was to appear as a witness in civil litigation for a deposition. So kind of hairy, kind of scary. So it is confirmed that it was for deposition. But from this, I think what I'm pulling from it and what I think we should all take from this is I think this guy got railroaded. I think that there's some information. I think it was suspicious, and it's something after listening back to the recording a bunch of times and listening to what he told me and texting him a little bit more too. I've sent him across. He has not seen his deposition paperwork. I also said, he's able to get his own police report and see it. He said he's not seen any of that. I think he's like, I think my lawyer has, but, he said that the 17th was the very first time that the Star magazine called him, and he was arrested on the morning of the 15th. So early AM in the morning. So getting a phone call from Star magazine a day or some change later on the 17th. Then the article wasn't published from Star magazine, was not published until the 23rd of September. So they sat on that information for a week. And I think that's sus. I think that's strange because this was the very first outlet to report any of this happened. And it was sat on to be reported at a specific time. Now, I didn't have time to clip all this and all the things I'm juggling currently to go and see what was actually going on in the Lively versus Wayfair Studios litigation at that time, but there was some stuff happening. And I guarantee you that this article was taken and this was reported this way for a specific reason. Katie, who do I think the subpoena is from? Great question, Joe. It's a great question. I don't think we'll ever know. Attorneys have to agree to accept service on behalf of their client. Yeah, I don't know. But think about it. He's a contractor. So he's a contractor that stepped in, and he's the guy that's like, he said, "Oh, I got a call from my boss." Literally, I went in and Yep, my boss said this. I went and did this, and they had tried all day, and he said that he was on a previous job. I clipped out to for privacy of whatever else he was doing, but he was on a previous job from 7 a.m. until 7 p.m. And then his boss called him and was like, "Hey, can you help out? Like, you're in the area. We need some assistance here. This is a problem. Like, we keep trying to serve this person and we can't get any traction on it. They keep dodging." And he was like, "Yeah, sure, I'll take on some extra hours. I'll do this." Not knowing it was going to end up him getting arrested. Isn't that insane? He's going to watch this too. Hi, Justin. Hi, Fisher family. How are you guys doing? He said that his stepdaughter watches all of my videos and that she shows him. Nice to meet you. Nice to see you. I don't know what your name is, but thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. I'm sorry that this situation is happening to you guys. Thank you for trusting me with getting this information out there. I did talk to when I talked to Justin, I was like, "Why me? Like, what's what's going on here?" Because he's the one that reached out to me to do this. I thought the story was gone. I thought it was over. And he said that he knew that I was local and that I had reached out before, and he felt like he's watched my videos and he thought that I would be a trustworthy source to put this information across. So I hope that I helped do him a little bit of justice here. So, um, no, he has zero personal feelings for any of them. He literally was there to do business. And he said multiple times that he was like, why would I put myself in danger? Because I was like, did you like hide yourself or try and like hide in the bushes or whatever? And he was like, no, like, I'm not trying to get shot. Like, I'm literally trying to do my job. So he could care less. And they basically tried to serve Taylor multiple times earlier in that day, it sounds like. He said two other agents sat outside of the suite at the Chiefs Stadium all day long, waiting for her to come out, and no alas. Then Justin, third attempt, went to the 1537 restaurant. He didn't explicitly say that. I just concluded that. Went to the restaurant and confirmed from multiple people that were speculating, sort like he just outside people, that she was in fact there. She was in fact in the restaurant. And so when he approached the doorman, he said, "Hey, legal process server, I'm here to do this." They were like, got the manager, and they stonewalled. And he outright said, "I know for a fact that they said she wasn't in there, but I know for a fact she was." So he waited outside of the restaurant. And he said at that point in time, when he got to the restaurant, it was probably about 9, 10 o'clock. He said by the time they were done and they were leaving out the side service access garage door, he said he saw a convoy of cars pull up and he saw the shuffle around, and he goes, "I know that this is probably them." So he waited and he followed that convoy back home towards where he thought. And he said that he knew as soon as that they were on that path to get back to where the residence where he initially checked was, he goes, "Okay, I think that's where they're headed." So he tried to get ahead of them. Stood outside the gate on his lonesome. He wasn't hiding. He said he just stood there like a regular person, and the convoy drove through that first gate and he followed them through behind the cars, walked down to the residence, walked past a car that was sitting at that second gate outside of his house. And then he said he walked right up to the guard at the front door, who shined a light in his face. And Justin went up there with papers in his hands in the air, and said, "I am a legal process server here to serve papers." That is the second time an agent approached the house that day. He's there with his hands up, and he said, "Everybody just left, ghosted, gone." So that's when Justin started whistling, hooting, and hollering to be like, "Hey, come back out here. I've got papers to serve." And that's where I'm kind of concluding maybe that's Laura Baker. Maybe she heard the hooting and hollering. The neighbor heard it. And so with that, immediately the cops came up. He said he was immediately arrested. There was no explanation. There was nothing until he was able to go to the place, and they said, "You were criminally trespassing." There was a sign posted that should have been his warning. So he didn't get an additional warning. He doesn't know what the guard told the police officer. All he knows is that he was booked. He was put in. He basically gave him a ticket, and on the ticket it said jumped over a fence. And he said he tried to clarify with the officer, like, "I literally didn't jump over anything." And they were like, "Oh, that's just what we put on tickets when you're in a place where you're not supposed to be." Like, okay. And then he said that he got his keys and got his car and went home. So you're confused. Somebody said he's confused. So I don't know if uh confused by all of this now. He confirmed the article, but sent by a peer the article. But I still think it was so I want to clarify. He did say that he was sent the article. He sent me a screenshot of when Doug sent him a link. It was the 22nd. So that Monday, they even had the story. And it says, "Hi, Justin. Just to make sure, you jumped the fence at 2 a.m. to serve court papers, right? Question mark. I asked because my editors are curious about the timing, and we just want to make sure the story is accurate. Please." Then the next day, there's another. And at this point, you have to understand, I don't think he was allowed to talk about it with anyone. So even though people are coming up to him and saying, "Did you jump over a fence? Did you do this?" He was advised, shut your mouth, don't say anything. As well as the fact that he's not following the Lively versus Wayfair Studios bullshit and the media just lies that we've been eating for literally, like, so he's not following any of that. He said, I'm just a regular old Joe. That's self-described. I'm a regular old Joe down here. I don't know what's going on. I know that they're big celebrities, but I don't know anything about them. He could care less. He's just there to do his job. And now it's so insane. Well, think about it. Okay, so it says Fisher should not accept the officer's explanation. He didn't jump the fence. He needs to force them to correct it. I don't know about any of that. But think about if you're in a position where you were charged with a crime and you were there doing your job, but you're also trying to figure out how to navigate a sensitive situation where he wants to keep his license. He doesn't want to, that's his big concern is he's like, I can't lose my job. Literally, that's my livelihood, and how he's got kids, like how they go to school, like all of it. Isn't that crazy? That him doing his job, like that's a shitty situation. So all we can do is try and advocate for him while also navigating this sensitively. I don't know if it's incompetent cops or if they were told something and Fisher didn't get a chance to say his side of it, right? If the officer went up to the guard and the guard said, "Yep, he hopped the fence and he did all this," then if Justin was not able to say, that's where I think we need more information from the police side. And I don't know what the police were told. When did Freeman and Wayfair ask for the extension to depose Taylor Swift? I don't know the answer to that. If we have Carol or Bocce in here, the robot, they're so good at those dates. So it hurts his job if he is accused of doing it unlawfully. So if he can't, this is a great purpose. If he can't confirm who he was serving papers for, how could he okay the Star article? I don't know what part he okayed. I don't know what article, if they included that in there. I don't know if he knew that it was spun like that, or that those words, like, because I mean, it's wordplay, right? Maybe he just looked at it and was like, yeah, I mean, I was there to serve it on behalf of the civil, you know what I mean? But I am going to say, with all the information that is in my brain and all of the things that I know now, I'm going to backtrack a previous statement that I've made. And I'm going to say that I don't think that it was Taylor Swift that called Star Magazine. I'm retracting my previous speculation and allegation. I don't think it was her. Why would she do that? I don't think she had any skin in the game. I wonder if she even knew he was out there. I bet she was in bed, tired. So, wow, we've got 500 eyeballs in here. I'm going to post this. Hi, Wordy Toast. How's it going? I'm wondering, so thank you guys for joining me for this live. This has been really fun. Tell me, I'm wondering if I should put together a more artful video, kind of with the clips. I might put something together just to make it a little easier to consume, just so that people aren't having to watch the technical shit show that happened in the beginning. The StreamYard, I'm still getting used to it, but also we would play a clip and then it would stop it, right? And then we'd have to listen to the clip over again. So, she had to have been told by the restaurant that there was a process server out there. Maybe. But he said he used his own educational, because the launch of the restaurant was that weekend. And it's Travis Kelce's restaurant. He's in town. Taylor's in town. That seems like a pretty good educational guess. Thanks for being here, Nancy. I'm sorry you missed the whole do a summary video. I will. But I appreciate you guys for being here. Thank you for liking and helping me kind of do this whole YouTube thing. It's definitely a different time. It's definitely a different thing. I can confirm that it was probably not, it could have been in any civil it was as a part of a civil litigation. Okay. You can confirm it was a part of certain civil litigation. I don't know. Could have been that. But what I'll tell you is I'll make a little conclusion video. I'll make like a little short guy. I might post it to a different platform. Thank you, Art Lover. That's so kind. I won't give up on YouTube. But I'm giving up on this video. I don't know how to do this StreamYard thing. Like there's ways that you can so I pre-uploaded all the video clips so I could just bang, 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 one bite through the next, go through them. And it looks like it would like glitch and it wouldn't. So I'm like thinking like, oh, I'm going to have to upload them one at a time. So, Justin Lee Fisher, if you and your family see this, I've got your back, guys. I hope you are well. I hope I did you justice. I hope you guys are well. And if there's anything you want to add or clarify, I'm always here. But yeah, I'm looking to see if there's more questions. I imagine the process papers are locked in evidence. So Lisa, I did confirm with the Leawood Police Department that all of the records, the police records, are basically locked with the Leawood Police Department. And what that means is that it's still under an open investigation. And so there are certain things that the public is not able to access while it's still under open investigation. However, I do think that Mr. Fisher may have access to that and his legal representation may have access to that. We'll see what comes of that. But thank you, Mr. Fisher, for everything. Thanks, you guys, for being here. I hope you all kick some butt and take some names. And we'll talk soon. I'm going to keep brainstorming on the information I was told, and I'm going to see if there's anything that comes of this, okay? Thank you. Bye, guys.